Good morning everybody and welcome to another vlog. It is another day and it is another long run day, and I thought I could chat to you a little bit while I get ready for this. So the plan today is to get ready for, like I said, a long run. The long run today is going to be anywhere between 21 and 25k, obviously because I've got the mountain marathon coming up. My body just really needs to get used to the longer distance. Last week I ran 23k with my brother. It was fair enough, it was trails, but at the end of those 23k I was goosed, like I was dead. Which didn't put fear in me, but it did make me feel a bit like, oh, we're at the halfway point, or we're just over the halfway point in the marathon distance, so I just really need to get used to these longer distances. To be fair, I'm at the end of like my training block, so my body is extremely tired, and that could have played a part last week, but considering that this mountain marathon is going to be trails, I just need to get used to like my legs being that tired. The weather is looking like it's holding up. It is a bit overcast, but the sun peeks through. I was out walking the dog earlier, and it's sunny, cloudy mix. There were a couple of like really big gusts of wind though, which I hate running when it's windy, but needs must. At least it's not thresholds in the wind like I had on Thursday. At least it's not raining either, because rain and wind is a recipe for disaster when I run. But yeah, I thought we could get ready together. Not that I do very much to get ready, but I thought I would chat to you a little bit about what I eat before I go for a long run, what I do to my hair, because I know very few things that are more annoying than hair getting stuck in your face when you're running and you're sweaty. I've actually found this to work really well. Don't know if you can see that, but it is the Got to Be Glued Brows and Edges Waterproof. It's like a little mascara stick, like that. And I just take and like flatten down. I know you can get like wax sticks as well, but as much as I don't want my hair to wave in my face, I also don't want to look like an egg, and this is making me look enough of an egg. Don't need to proper like push down my hair. So yeah, little tip for you if you have longer hair and you are like me where you don't like it getting stuck in your face, get this, because it does really work. It does get a bit gluey or like sticky, so it's definitely a hair washing. Hair washing is a requirement after using this, but I think that is a requirement anyway after a long sweaty run like that. But yeah, it's no more difficult than this. I mean, if I can do it, anyone can. So yeah, to be fair, I didn't just take it at the fronts, did I? I did my whole head. But yeah, can you see what I mean? I look like an egg. But we're gonna have to just rock the egg look. Pace wise, these long runs I tend to not really put like expectations on pace, if that makes sense. I just go out and do them. I'm not racing the mountain marathon. My aim is to complete it because it will suck enough. So yeah, I'm not really putting expectations pace wise. The last couple of runs, the trail run, we were about 7 minutes a kilometre. The run I did before that, the week before that, I did 20k. Was like a 6:25, I think, with pee breaks and gel breaks and a couple of filming breaks. So I don't know, I maybe held that at a 6:20 or 6:15, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not putting overly much pressure on myself to hit a certain pace for these long runs. I also thought I could show you what I eat and take before I go out for my run, and then what I take on my run. So as my pre-run breakfast, to be fair, I don't really do anything different to normal. I have oats and eggs and hot sauce. If you followed me for a while, you know that that is my go-to breakfast. You might think that that sounds disgusting, but don't diss it until you've tried it. It's a very functional and actually quite tasty breakfast. So I'll usually have 50 grams of oats mixed with water and bunged in the microwave. And then on top of that I have scrambled eggs. So I have 2 whole eggs and 150 to 200 grams of egg whites, scrambled it up, and then I top that with any sort of hot sauce. If you're in the UK, Nando's sauce, very nice. If you're in Sweden, this sauce, highly recommend, very nice. So yeah, that is my breakfast. That's what I had this morning, together with 2 coffees. I spoke to Steve on FaceTime for a bit, and then I took Kelpie out for a walk. So I just allowed enough time between eating and then starting my run because I don't want to feel sick. So yeah, there's roughly, it's 11 o'clock now, so there's roughly like 2 hours between me eating and me actually going out for my run. I did just have a couple of sweeties. Sweets are just a very good source of quick acting carbohydrates, and they're tasty. So I just had a couple of like jelly sweets because that'll fuel me up a bit. I'm away to have my pre-workout. I usually have beta-alanine, L-citrulline, and then some creatine in my pre-workout together with a little bit of juice. Give that a good old shake, and that will be my pre-workout. I'm going to drink that now, give that about 20 minutes to half an hour to kick in, get my face to tingle like mad. And in the meantime, I'm going to prepare my running vest and do like my pre-workout drills, a foam roller, and I put the massage gun on my legs. So yeah, these are my running accessories, I suppose. That's what you want to call it. My water pack, because alongside carb powder and electrolytes, I just want like some normal water because as tasty as it is, sipping on something sweet for the duration of 25 kilometers, sometimes you just want a bit of normal water. So yeah, that's what this water pack is for. This still has like the tissues in the bottom from drying it after last week's run, because otherwise if you don't do that it just goes all manky and mouldy. Don't want that. So yeah, I'm gonna fill this with probably about a litre of water. I'm gonna try and drink a litre of water while I'm out alongside These 250ml pouches, I usually have 2 bigger pouches at about 500-600ml each, but I found over the last 2 runs that I've not finished them. I will run with them during the marathon because obviously it's a longer distance, but for today's run I think 500ml and a litre of water will be enough. This is always a tricky one to fill when you're on your own, so let's hope for the best. That's roughly a litre, so that'll do. That goes into this running vest. I've tried a couple of running vests. I've just found that this one is from a brand called Swede Mount. If you're in Sweden, fairly easy to get hold of. Not sure if you can get it in the UK. But this is just like the snuggest vest that I've tried. I had another one prior to this, which was just too big. It didn't sit as tight, and when I was running, it was what would you say? How do you call that? It didn't sit tight enough, so it was just annoying me. So this one, perfect. In with a pouch. Make sure it's nice and secure. Get that through. There we go, that's that. I like my tube coming out through the right and crossing over my body to the left. Everybody's different, but that's just how I like it. So we'll thread it through here, and then I can tie that up properly once I've got it on my back. But yeah, that is the pouch, or the water pouch done. Now we make the carb powder. The carb powder that I use is from a brand called OTE, and I will mix that with extra electrolytes. This has electrolytes in it, but I sweat like a maniac when I exercise, so I just feel like I need a little bit more electrolytes. This is an 80-gram serving and fits into 500ml of liquid, so perfect for these 2 little pouches. Yeah, so per serving you get 80 grams of carbs, which will probably do me like the first hour. I'm aiming to have anywhere between 80 to 120 grams of carbs an hour. Obviously I've had my breakfast, I've had the sweets, so this is just a top up, I suppose. So yeah, 80 grams of carbs in this. I will take 2 gels. They have 25 grams of carbs in them each, so that's 50. And then I'm going to trial something that I've not tried before, which is I've frozen a Mars bar, because I'm hoping that after about an hour and a half, said Mars bar will be defrosted and they'll be ready to eat. This might turn out horrifically or horrifically wrong. Actually, having said that, I might take a 3rd gel just to be on the safe side. So yeah, that is what I'm taking fueling wise. The carb powder you mix with a little bit of water first. You put the carb powder in, you mix it so it doesn't get gloopy, and then you top up to 500ml, and then I will decant it in these 2 little pouches. Come up, say hi to YouTube. Hello YouTube. You were whining because the tractor was driving past. I like having these in the top front pouches, just because I'm particular like that. There we go, that's one. And that's 2. Front right or bottom right, I like to have my gels. And then front left or bottom left, I like to have my phone. About to head off for this long run. Someone doesn't want me to go. What? But yeah, I thought I would start this clip at least in here because it sounds quite windy outside. I'm not sure how much talking I'll do during the run because I just want to focus on running. I might give you like 5k updates, i.e. at 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25k, but I will definitely do a little debrief after. So yeah, if anything, enjoy the little running montage. So we are coming up to 5 kilometres. There's me saying 5 kilometres. Feeling good, a little bit of a niggle in my knee, but nothing overly major, I would say. Some nice scenery. We're about to come into the town and hit the 10k mark. I forgot to actually film bang on the 10k mark, but here you see me say I'm about 11 and a bit k in-ish. We're halfway. I've stopped in probably the least windiest place on the whole route, and it's time for my Mars bar. The one that was frozen when I left is now pretty much normal, so let's have a try. Right, moment of truth. Sweat mixed with a Mars bar. Delightful, but yeah. Yeah, that's completely defrosted. I don't know if this has made any difference. The reason why I froze it was because I was scared that if it was a hot day, this would melt. If it's frozen, when I put it in my backpack or my vest, it takes more or longer for it to then melt. Don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. I'm halfway, 12.6k in. I'm going to eat this Mars bar and head back. It'll probably get really windy again, so cue the montage and voiceover again. So heading back, halfway point, hitting about 16k there. All uphill, still uphill. That's a very long uphill. We are 5k away from the house, so we are at the 20k mark, and boy could I feel it. Yeah, you can tell from my face that I was feeling dead. We are home after our long run, I had these grand plans of talking to you when I just come home, sweaty, tired, but very happy. But I got phoned by the husband. I got told off because apparently, when he reminded me, I remembered that we pinky promised that we were only going to run 23k, and I ran 25, so I got told off. Yeah, so got home, and then I had these grand plans of showing you, like, you know, my lunch prep and like all these things, and that just went out the window basically, because I was so sweaty and so like gritty salty that all I wanted to do was just jump in the shower. So that's what I did. I have showered, I've washed my hair, I'm feeling fresh again, and I've had lunch. So for lunch, I probably should have fueled a little bit more, but I get quite I don't really get hungry after intense exercise. If anything, my appetite kind of disappears after like intense exercise. However, I know that I'll be a bit more hungry tonight and tomorrow. But yeah, for lunch, I had the same old, same old. If you know me, and you followed me for a while, especially on Instagram, you know that my lunch pretty much every day without fail is a ham or chicken salad wrap. I usually use like a low calorie dressing, just because as much as I like sauces, I do think when you're in a dieting phase, they are a humongous waste of calories. It is easy, it's quick, it's convenient. I thought I could at least take you along for me making dinner tonight, which is a trusted favourite in this house. It's chicken kebab and potatoes in the air fryer with a big salad. So yeah, I thought I could take you along for that. But as a little debrief of the run, generally, my legs were hurting quite bad at about 20k, and it almost felt like they were hurting so much they almost became a bit numb to it. The last 5k, longest run ever, and all I could think was like the last 5k. I was like, right, so when I get to the end on D-Day, when it's crunch time, once you've done 25k, you then have another 17.5k to go. And my legs were pretty dead when I got here. To be fair, we are at the end of a training block, so I've got a bit of a deload week next week, or the week coming up, or the week that has just been for you. I've got a bit of a deload week, so we're pulling back volume and intensity, I think, just to allow for the body to rest and recover a little bit. But yeah, generally very happy with that run, very proud of myself that I did it. And a thought that goes through my head quite often on these like longer runs or like intense sessions or classes is that, and I know this can sound so cliche, but it's true, I am so grateful that my body can do this. Like, I have several people in my life who because of health reasons aren't capable of moving like this. Yeah, so I'm immensely grateful for my body allowing me to do this shit. No, this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a thought that goes through my head quite frequently. I think when you have people so close to you who you see on a daily basis like struggle to even just take a step, when you then come home after a 25k run, it just puts things in perspective. And even like before I went out this morning, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered with this. It's going to be like 2.5 hours of just being a little bit uncomfortable. And I almost caught myself out as soon as I thought that. I kind of gave myself a bit of a talking to, like, stop looking at it like, oh, I have to do this. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. I have the flexibility to do this, and like I said, I am physically able to do this. So shut up and crack on with it, basically. So yeah, anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent. I am going to walk the little furry riot that is currently sleeping on the sofa, and then I will see you when it is dinner time. It's a couple of hours later now, and as I said in the previous clip, I'm going to bring you along when I make dinner. This is probably one of our most loved dinners, both by Steve and me, and it is chicken kebab. I'm not actually sure if you can get this in the UK, but in Sweden you can. Chicken kebab and potatoes in the air fryer with a salad. So yeah, let's prep that. I weigh my food. Some people might think that's weird. I'm so used to it now that it's just second nature, and it just gives me a bit of an idea of what and how much I'm having. So yeah, I usually have about 200 to 250 grams of potatoes on a regular training day. Because I've ran so far today, I'm going to bump that up to like 300, 350 potentially, depending on like what the potatoes are doing. So that's 300. I don't think I'll get a 50-gram potato. Oh, I do. So that's like 336. So that'll do me. All I then do is cut these into, so I cut it once, twice, and then across into like little cubes into a bowl, and then I will season that probably just with salt and pepper, to be honest, because I'm going to have salsa and kebab sauce on top of that, so it doesn't really need flavoured overly much. Just a little bit of extra salt, just because I did sweat a lot during that run, and I've just realised I've not had my electrolytes. Typically after a very sweaty session, I will have some electrolytes, although I had electrolytes in the carb powder this morning, and then an extra tab in those 2 little bottles, didn't I? I'm also not a fan of like masses of oil, just because I don't like greasy food, and it's, in my opinion, sometimes it's nice, but for the majority of meals, I just think it is a huge waste of calories, because yeah, it's just so easy for extra calories to creep in when you just pour a bit of oil. So I've got one of these spray bottles. If you don't have one of these and you are dieting or you're trying to lose weight, get yourself one, because it's a game changer. Yeah, I just spray my potatoes a couple of times. So that was what, 9 or 10 sprays? That's probably about 10 calories worth of oil, whereas if I would have just poured that on, that would have easily been about 200. So yeah, a bit of salt, like I said, a little bit of extra salt, and then a little bit of pepper. As such, give that a shake, and in the air fryer they go. I've got this air fryer. I quite like this one because it's got 2 trays, so you can either cook 2 things separately on a different setting. So you could potentially go potatoes in one on a roast setting at 200 degrees for 15 minutes, and in the other tray you could put the kebab on an air fry setting at 190 degrees for 8 minutes. I'm too lazy because that means washing up 2 baskets, and when I'm on my own I just bung them in the same tray. So I'll put it on, although I like my potatoes on the roast mode, I like my convenience more, so I will put everything on the air fry mode. The potatoes take about 15 minutes, so I'll set it to 15 minutes, and then when there's about 8 minutes left, I'll pour the kebab in. So in with the potatoes, put it to air fry, 200 degrees is fine for me, and then the time set to 15, and then let that start cooking. In the meantime, I'm going to weigh out my kebab. I usually have about 150 grams of kebab, again because of the long run. I have a little bit more calories to play with, so I'll probably bump that up to about 200. There we go, 213. And then while that's cooking, I'll put the kebab to one side, and I will do my salad. So my salad isn't anything fancy. It is literally iceberg lettuce because it is a lot cheaper than like the bagged salad, and it takes 2 seconds to cut. And then just some pre-cut vegetables. If you're not doing this already, you need to start doing this if you want to make your own life a lot easier. I used to be the person who dreaded having a salad because it means cutting the lettuce, cutting the carrots, cutting the tomatoes, cutting the cucumber, cutting this, cutting that. And it's so fiddly and faffy. Then I started meal prepping, and a light came on in my head that said, why can't you meal prep salad? So that is what I do. Pre-cut vegetables. I could technically make a big bowl and cut this as well, but I do find that lettuce goes off quicker than all of this, so, and it takes 2 seconds to cut, so I'll just cut it. I will cut 2 to 3 carrots, usually a whole cucumber, some of those like sweet peppers, a red one, I've got a yellow one in there, and just like a handful of tomatoes, and then that's done, so you don't have to think about that every night or every lunch or whatever. Life hack. So yeah, when I say I like a big salad, the base for that is humongous. It fills half my plate, if not slightly more. Then we just top that with a bit of this. And make sure that doesn't go anywhere. Make sure that doesn't go everywhere. There we go. That'll do. The rest just goes back in the fridge, and then I quite like topping that with beetroot. I love beetroot. What I don't love though is how much it stains my wooden chopping boards. So I tend to cut these on a little plate. And when I say I love beetroot, I love beetroot. I love a lot of beetroot on my salad. So there we go, that's that done. Perfectly timed for the potatoes and the kebab. There's about 8 minutes left on the potatoes, so we just give them a little bit of a sugar. we add the kebab, as such. Shove it back in, let that do another probably about 4 minutes, then give everything a bit of a shuggle, and then 4 minutes later, that is done. It really is that easy. Not to go off on too much of a tangent, but when people say to me, I don't have time to make dinner, I genuinely struggle to understand that. Do you genuinely struggle to understand that? Kappa, come say hi to YouTube.
Hello. Your dinner takes about 2 seconds because I just scoop it, don't I? Unless you get fresh food. It takes a bit longer then.
But yeah, you'll see, 15 minutes is literally all it takes to make a delicious, healthy, filling meal. It really doesn't have to be complicated. Anyway, this salad is a little bit bland on its own, so I usually use this dressing because it is quite low calorie. It's 37 calories per 100 grams. This whole bottle is, what, 335 milliliters, so it's virtually no calories. Rather than like an oily vinaigrette, again, a lot of calories in oil, which is just unnecessary. Even if you're not like on a weight loss journey, I still just think, even when I'm in a maintenance phase or a surplus phase, I prefer to spend my calories on other things. And then I top it with a little bit of balsamic glaze. 189 calories per 100 grams. I use about 10 grams. I've done it so often now that I know that a little drizzle is about 10 grams. So 20 calories to make a salad go from tasty to delicious. In my opinion, 100% worth it. Again, perfect timing. There's about 4 minutes left. Give that a bit of a shuggle. There we go. Let that air fry for another 4 minutes, and then I will come back and show you how I top this all off. And I've just managed to do the majority of the washing up in the time that it is taken for that to continue cooking. So that'll be ready in a couple of seconds. As I said, I'm going to show you how I top it off, and then it is munchy time. I have no idea where that came from. That is said a finished product. I usually just pour that or tip that into my plate or onto my plate. There is so much of it that it doesn't actually fit on the plate, but I then top that off with some salsa. Again, dieting hack. If you do like sauces but you don't like the calories in sauces, salsa is extremely calorie friendly at about 30 calories per 100 grams. I usually have about 50 grams. I know 50 grams is usually about 3 big scoops, 3.5 scoops-ish. So yeah, that's about 15 calories. And then I also top it off with a little bit of kebab sauce. Again, I don't know if you can get this in the UK. If you're in Sweden, the Felix mild kebab sauce is, again, quite calorie friendly if you don't use too much of it. 324 calories per 100 grams. I, again, have done this so often that I know that this is about 10 grams-ish, 30 calories. Like if we add all the sauces up, for 70 calories, you're making, like I said, a meal that is really nice, extremely delicious. So yeah, this is my evening dinner. Usually if I use the normal measurements, for this, or the normal quantities, this meal is about 350 calories. I don't track salad. I never have and I never will because it's too faffy. So yeah, about 350 calories. Because I've upped quantities a little bit, this will probably land you on about 500 calories, which I think is still very good, like value for money as such, because this is a lot of food. So yeah, I'm away to eat this. Watch a bit of YouTube, probably phone Steve, and then I will catch you when I start like my wind down routine. I've lit some candles, and I'm just going to cozy down and just relax. I think I'm just going to watch something on TV, cuddle the dog, and then have an early night because yours truly is tired after that run. So yeah, I just wanted to end this video by saying thank you so much for tuning in again. If you're new to the channel, then please do subscribe. If you wouldn't mind, give this video a thumbs up. It does help me a lot. And yeah, this is goodbye and good night from us. And I will see you in next week's vlog.